The entire planet, it seems, is talking about making a murderer. The Steven Avery trial with Brendan Dassey. If you don't know the results, you're just slow. Because everyone's been watching it and everyone's been talking about it and it's been blown up on social media. And I'm doing a ton of research. And even though I gave up after 10 episodes or 8 episodes or something because it was infuriating and I broke six plasma TV screens from throwing shit at them. And I stumble across a story today saying that a husband and a wife say that they saw Steven Avery at a certain time in a certain place, perhaps the night Teresa Hallback disappeared. And we have the man from The Man and the Wife on the phone with us right now, and he's in Texas. Thank you very much to Dave. Dave, is it Dave Begotka?
Dave Begotka.
How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing all right.
Good, man. I'm grateful for your time here on the program. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, are you currently in Texas now?
Yeah, I'm in Texas.
Okay, man. And are you from Manitowoc?
Yeah, I'm from Two Rivers, Wisconsin, which is in Manitowoc County, and right next to Manitowoc on the lake.
What's that? You know, I've been meaning to ask people, what's the population of Manitowoc?
Manitowoc is like 30-some thousand. The whole county is probably like 50 or 60,000.
A lot of incest in towns like that?
I don't know. It's a good question. But,
yeah. It's just I'm just throwing it out there being an idiot. Now, Dave, you left. You live in Texas now, and you live with your wife Sandra. But during the time of Steven Avery's first trial, where he got convicted wrongly for 18 years for the assault of the lady, I forget her name now. You were heavily involved in that, weren't you?
I was on the beach jet skiing, and I was asked to go and search for her by her husband and a police officer. And I went up the beach. It's kind of a secluded area. It's a state park. I went up the beach on my jet ski, and on my way back, I saw her running over the sand dunes, covered in blood, half naked. And I pulled up on my jet ski, and she ran to some people that were on the beach, and the cops were there, and I asked the cops what had happened. They said she was attacked. So I went running over the sand dunes thinking I could probably catch the guy who did it. And the cops started screaming at me not to go over the sand dunes. No, come back. And I got to the top of the sand dunes, and there was people on the other side of the sand dunes where she had come from. And none of them had police officer uniforms on, but the cops said, no, you're going to mess up the crime scene, so come back. And I never found out what was going on there, and that was about all I really saw that day. And then, 18 years later, we find out that Steven Avery didn't do it.
Wow!
And,
so you because you were on the jet ski, it would have given you sort of some. You saw her running down right after the assault, and because of this, you being on the jet ski, it would have allowed you to get to the position where it happened a little bit quicker than people running there, because you can go 40, 50 miles per hour on that thing. And then they advised you not to go there. So even then, were you a little bit suspicious, thinking that maybe there was something going on, like they were setting up a crime scene right away?
Yeah, because everybody I saw on the other side of the sand dunes, when I got up there, they looked surprised and guilty. You know what I mean? And the cops, they seemed really upset, and then I came back down, and I don't think I ever filled out a statement, and they kept me away from the trial. I was never called as a witness or anything like that.
So in the very first trial where he got wrongly convicted for and spent 18 years in jail, and who knows what that did to Steven A. Avery? My goodness! Was he stubborn in a right way, because he did not want to take a plea, and he just always was very adamant that he had nothing to do with that. Which of course he was proven that he did have nothing to do with that. You might have been able to help that case.
Maybe. I wondered that, and after he got released, I was kind of waiting for the woman that ID'd him. The woman that was on the beach, picked him out of a lineup, And I've listened to her testimony, and she did a little TV show, and she described the guy that I saw standing there when I ran over the sand dunes. I saw the guy that was standing there looking guilty as hell match the description of what she said.
You saw Gregory Allen, you think?
I could have. It could have been him. 30 years ago, but it sure looks like. I looked at his picture since then, because nobody even knew who he was back then. Nobody knew who he was until until they found out he did this rape or whatever. He wasn't really known, And it just, it kind of blew my mind, that it all went down like that.
Wow, what was that? That's crazy stuff. Dave Begotka joins us originally just from a town right beside a neighboring town of Manitowoc, and he was on the beach the day where Steven Avery was convicted of sexually assaulting a lady. I apologize, no disrespect. I completely forget the lady's name.
Penny Bernstein.
Penny Bernstein, thank you. So there's just so many names in this big saga. Anyway, you were there, and you thought you maybe had seen Gregory Allen. Turns out the police wouldn't let you do anything get involved with the case whatsoever. 18 years later now, Steven Avery gets released. It seemingly looks like his life is going to move on, and he's going to stay under the radar, and he had found love, and he was just going to try and live a peaceful lifestyle, despite him being in jail for as long as he was, where he shouldn't have been. And then we all know the story where it's like, hey, he now got convicted for murdering Teresa Halbach. But you now, in a weird way, Dave Begotka, have another occurrence where you think you maybe saw something that was never dealt with. Is this correct?
Yeah. The night of the murder on Halloween, me and my wife took our bicycles for a ride to check out the Halloween decorations in Two Rivers, and we saw him at a gas station getting fuel, and he was filling up gas cans. And the reason I recognized him is because I knew the case, and he was on the news because he was suing the county for $36 million. And it was kind of a big deal. And I pointed him out to my wife, and we watched him drive away. And then, like a couple days later, we heard about all the accusations of murder, and like I said, I turned my gut to think that I was involved in this again, and I didn't even want to say anything, but I had to, so we wrote a letter to the Manitowoc Sheriff's Department, and I called once, and we never heard nothing back from them. And I followed the case really closely after, the jury trial for his second crime, and it was like deja vu to the first one. They just railroaded the guy. They framed him.
Dave Begotka joins us. So you're riding your bikes with your wife the night of the 31st, and back in 2005, and it's 5:15ish.
It was dark, just getting dark.
Just getting dark. There. And then where? So you just near Two Rivers, Wisconsin. You're convinced you saw Steven A. Avery at that time at a gas station. What was it, like one of these sort of like little mini convenient mart thingies? Yeah,
it was Patsy's 42 Mobile One or Mobile Station or something like that. It's convenience store, yeah.
And now was this so? And you saw him there. Was he filling up a car? What was he filling up?
He was filling up gas cans.
Oh, like those red gas cans.
The jerry can.
The jerry can. I do that. I have a bro. By the way, I got a jet ski too, and I do that because it's cheaper than going to the marinas. So I put it in my car and I get the gas. So I get it. Those 5-gallon gallon gas jugs or whatever. So you now, like when you say you called the police and you sent a letter. Do you know, like when you called them, did you actually speak to someone at the other end of the line saying, hey, we saw Steven A. Avery doing this at the time that you're saying he killed this obviously tragic story with this lady, Teresa Halbach?
Yeah, they said they'd send an officer out to my house for a statement, but it never happened,
Wow, because all police phone calls are recorded. That's part of the reason why the documentary became so interesting, because you could hear all those phone conversations. I wonder if there's any record of that anywhere, Dave. Have you asked anyone since?
There very well could be. I don't know.
So when you're watching this now, and by the way, you wrote a letter. No one ever wrote a letter back to you?
No.
Why didn't you and your wife, Sandra Dave, just go down to the police station?
At the time, I didn't think it was that relevant. I thought maybe they knew that already, that he was there. They maybe had other witnesses. I didn't know.
What about when he was going through the whole trial? Did you not think maybe you should go back again and tell the police, listen, you may have the wrong guy, and this is why?
I had already moved to Texas, but I was following the case on the internet and stuff. and I didn't know. I didn't know. I maybe I should have. But
yeah, it's always a little, it's always a bit nerve-wracking too when you got to go and deal with police, isn't it? Just on a even though you're telling them something about someone else, you never want to just you don't want police start sniffing around your business now.
Yeah, well, I had there's a lot more to the story than me and these police and this whatever you want to call this mafia that's up in Manitowoc County. After I didn't see that on the beach, after that happened, I got approached by a county state official guy who was from the area and a business owner. He came to where I was working, and he asked me. He said that he wanted me to join this club, this business owners club, that all the business owners are in it. And he whips out these pictures, and there's pictures of naked guys at a hotel room, and they're all doing sexual things, and he's telling me that, that they want me to join this club, and I was just totally, I was like 19 years old, I was like freaked out, I was like, I'm sorry about that, and I never understood why they would, approach me for this, and then about a year later, I bought a bar, and I was running a bar, and one of the naked guys from the picture starts harassing me at my bar, telling me I got to join this club. And again, I was like, forget it. I'm not joining this club. The pictures in there, the guy who was harassing me, he was a junior high school football coach, and there was other high school teachers in these pictures of all these naked guys. The guy said to me, don't worry, we get girls once in a while too, and I was just like, no thanks. And then they kept harassing me at my bar, and then I got a bar manager, a woman who was running my bar, and they started harassing her, and I wasn't there, and I left on a trip, and I talked to her, and she asked me about these people harassing her, and I told her, I said, well, we'll go to the cops when I get back, and she says, they are the cops, and it kind of freaked me out and whatever, and I left, and then I came back from my trip and find out she was dead. She supposedly died of a heart attack, and then I talked to somebody who was at where she died, who found her, and they said she was covered in blood, from a heart attack, covered in blood, and a gun next to her on the bed. And now looking back all of it, if they had the ability to cover, frame Steven Avery the first time, they could have murdered her too and covered it all up. The way I understand it, the coroner wasn't even involved in this Teresa Hallbach thing. Somehow they bypassed the coroner in Manitowoc on that. So, you tell me. I mean, I'm glad I don't live there anymore.
You're talking about a good old-fashioned satanic sex club.
There you go. You know what I'm talking about.
I do. I'm a part of a few of them.
That's weird. No, on a very serious level, Dave Begotka joins us. Dave Begotka with his wife Sandra, who lived just outside of Manitowoc during the time of Steven Avery's first wrongful conviction. He was on the beach that day when Penny Bernstein was assaulted. And he was very close, and he even saw the scene where it happened. And he thinks, and as he said earlier, Dave was on the phone with us. He thinks he maybe saw a guy that looked like that Gregory Allen character, who eventually got convicted for it. And then coincidentally, unfortunately, I guess these matter of circumstance, which can be unfortunate. It appears as if you saw Steven Avery the night that he killed. They say he killed anyway, Teresa Hallbach. And you saw him filling up a jerry can at a gas station, which is nowhere near the Avery compound. And then you got sort of weirdly harassed by officials within the town. And was the bar within Manitowoc, or was it outside of it?
The bar was in Manitowoc, in the city of Manitowoc.
So you had the bar. What was the bar's name? What was the bar called?
The bar's name was Dave's Dungeon.
It sounds like an appropriate place maybe for a gay satanic ritual or sex club, but no,
I know.
Dave's Dungeon. But so
that's a perfect place for a good old fuck party. I'll tell you that right now.
But on again, I don't want to get too because this is some very serious accusations and some pretty crazy stuff that has happened to you, man. And it must be very tough on you mentally, knowing that you think you maybe saw a man that was wrongfully convicted for a second time. as he still spends time in jail for the Teresa Hallback murder. And yet you might be an alibi saying that you saw him. And then on top of it, there were people hounding you and pressuring you into joining a club and kind of getting away. And then you had a bar manager who you say was also pressured. And then when you went away, she was discovered dead, and there was no real true autopsy on this. And while they deemed it a heart attack, there was blood at the scene and stuff. Has anyone opened up any sort of investigation into this lady's who ran your bar's death? No, not yet. I've got videos on the internet. I talk about all this, and I've been sending the videos to the FBI and the Department of Justice, and I've been trying to get a real investigation into everything. When Avery got out, I was waiting for an investigation into the first thing on the beach. I was just waiting to see what actually happened, how it went down, and that all got canceled when the murder happened on Hallback. So it just seemed too good to be true for the people who were getting sued and everything. And think about it. Would you want me anywhere near this case if I saw Gregory Allen on the beach after the first time? When I called them or whatever and told them that I saw Steven Avery again, they probably didn't want me anywhere near this. No, it's just it's like I said, it's a huge coincidence and a very peculiar one for you. And then knowing now that you think there's some sort of, as you said in your words, sort of a mafia within that town who get part of. And again, this is all just your allegations, but there's gay sex parties and it's a bunch of dudes and they want you to join a club, and it seems like maybe it's a top these secret clubs, and maybe there's ritual killings amongst these clubs. Who the fuck knows? It sounds pretty dark and pretty fucked up. Is that part of the reason why you said I'm picking up? I'm with my wife Sandra and Dave Begotka. You said I'm getting out of this area, Manitowoc. I'm heading over to Texas. I'm getting away from this. Was that part of it? Well, that was a part of it. You can't get a decent job or and things up there unless you're part of these people. They really control everything. It's scary. I've known other people that own businesses up there, and they all have dealings with them. Nobody likes it, but they're all scared shitless. Who do you go to? The cops? The cops are involved. Are you saying like they're Satanists? I've never seen them, with devil horns or anything, but my research into Satanism and everything, I would say that it's a satanic sex club. Are you pro-Satan or anti-Satan? I don't believe in anything, man. Okay, what's your YouTube channel handle? Dr. Nephilim 666. Dr. Nephilim 666? Yeah, I was born in June of 1966. Okay, that's a little problematic, right? Like the 666 would, and then you had the dungeon too. Like the 666, it kind of sounds satanic. Kinda, but I'm not. Yeah, he doesn't believe in anything. It just, the handle, I didn't realize. So what's your YouTube handle where people can go and really hear the detailed story? It's Dr. Nephilim 666. How do you spell N-E? N-E-P-H-I-L-I-M. I-L-I-M 666. Yeah, it does. Nephilim is, go ahead. No, you go ahead, man. A Nephilim is a giant. I'm kind of a big guy. That's the only reason I use that. Okay. How big are you? Huh? How big are you? I'm 6'4", about 240 pounds. Yeah, you're a big dude. I won't mess with you. You play football in the day? No, I didn't. You never did? You're a Brett Favre fan? No, not really. That's all I kept thinking when I watched Making a Murder. I'm like, I bet you there's a lot of people wear cheese heads during Sundays. Take bad dick pics and send them around town too. Well, Dave, man, this is quite a story. If there's any way we can help get it out there for you, and obviously we're doing a little bit of that right now live on SiriusXM here. We will, as we're watching this documentary, and I know there's a lot of stories now saying that the film producers and the directors, they left some key evidence out, although I've read that key evidence, and it doesn't seem that damaging towards making this a case even better for the prosecutors. And I'm not saying Steven A. Avery is innocent either, but I can tell you this, it does not seem like a fair trial was done. And I can tell you that if it ever comes to this being reopened with all these petitions going on right now, where there's a couple of 100,000 plus people who've signed them, and they're trying to get it to all top levels of the government, including Barack Obama, who really doesn't have the authority, but he could always tell someone who does have the authority to go and get into this. You could be a key part of this, man. Are you prepared for that?
Yeah, I'm telling the truth, man. I'm not making any of this up. Another thing that they found out today, that a juror came forward and said that they were threatened.
I saw that on the Today Show.
Yeah, so I mean, this ain't bullshit, man. This is going on. It's been going on for a long time.
Well, I'll tell you, just as a layman, and we're up here in Toronto, Canada, which is a big city, but, I try and believe in the greater good of people, and you try not to wish, or you try not to hope that that there's no corruption or none of this stuff going on. And you see it on such a small scale in a small town, and that's what everyone presumes was going on, that it was a bunch of dudes in a room. And I said it yesterday on the program. I didn't say it was a gay sex club, but it was some sort of old boys network. It was some sort of club who were collaborating and protecting one another. That's the way and because of that, it starts to make you look over your shoulder a little more and think that nothing is actually real. It's fucking scary, Dave, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And the Republican Party was founded in Ripon, Wisconsin, which is right around there.
Wow. What do you think of Trump? You like Trump?
No, I'm not. I think if you vote, you're kind of participating in a crime.
Wow, it's maybe on another level, it's a bigger crime. I have another co-host here, Roddy. He was big into the series. He wants to ask you a question, if you don't mind. Dave Begotka joins us from Texas. Used to live just outside of Manitowoc. Was there the day that Steven Avery apparently and allegedly had done that assaulting, and then of course it got proven that he didn't 18 years later. Then where Gregor Allen did, and then he was also might have seen him filling up gas when he's accused of killing Teresa Hallback. Roddy Comer.
Hey, Dave, two-part question. First of all, have you reached out to Steven, written him in jail to tell him that you have this information? And secondly, have you spoken with a lawyer to find out how you could use this information properly, or where you could go to actually potentially make a difference?
Well, I've been in contact with the Carla, I forget her last name, his niece, who's running the Justice for Steven Avery Facebook page. And I've sent emails to the lawyers, and like I said, I've sent all my stuff to the Department of Justice and the FBI, and everybody that I've spent weeks splattering this all over the internet. So I think I've done everything I can.
Could you? I mean, if there is sort of some cultish kind of club in Manitowoc, do you think it still exists today?
That's a good question. I believe that there's probably remnants of it left.
Like, would you recognize some of those figures that 15 or 10 odd years ago approached you?
Yes, and some of them are still around.
You know that there were some of those teachers and some of them who showed you full-on pictures of adult male gay sex going on and asking you to join a club and putting pressure on you to be a part of this sort of what seems like a secret society.
Yeah.
Where did where would have, if you would have went, where would have the gay sex cult events taken place?
He told me that they go to different hotels and stuff like that and rent suites and things like that. And they wanted me to join this. They kept telling me I had to go to the basement of the local Eagles Club to talk to these people.
What's the Eagles Club?
It's like a lodge, like the Freemasons, the Eagles, the Knights of Columbus. It's just one of these fraternities or whatever, fraternal lodges.
I'll tell you, there's some people who stayed over at Manitowoc Inn one back in the day, and are like, I hope they clean this place. But Dave, man, this is, I mean, quite the revelations that you're giving us, and the one thing I'll tell you, and the way you talk it seems honest. It reminds me of hearing Steven Avery. It's like honest to a fault. Like, it's just guys who got nothing to hide in life. They don't give a shit. They'll tell you if they had 35 beers last night, and then they'll tell you what things they saw. They don't have a filter, but it's a good filter because they don't have malicious bones in their body. You seem like one of those guys, and I feel like this isn't just for you to get the attention, although maybe you haven't done the proper steps to get that attention if all this stuff is true. And you know, I'm glad you're on the radio program, but maybe as Roddy was asking you, you might want to contact a lawyer.
Yeah, I have. Like I said, I've sent emails and stuff, and
No, but you might want to just like walk into a lawyer's office or go right into to some sort of police force and say, this is what I know, this is what I see. At least it's on an official record that way, as opposed to just a call or an email. People can, we've seen what's happened on what you can do with the system. But if you go in there with a witness like your wife, Sandra, and you go and tell your story on record, I mean, someone at least at that point has to say it happened because you have your alibi with you saying we did this. That would be Sandra.
Yep.
And that's why maybe you should have a lawyer. Maybe you find one of these pro bono lawyers, or they work on contingency or whatever. And well, not that you can't really get money out of this, but something. Like I wouldn't let this go. If you are this convinced that there's something else going on there, and you believe that there is a innocent man in jail, and I think the bigger crime is there's a murderer not in jail. If that's what you believe, then it's kind of your duty, man, to make sure that the real people are convicted of this crime, because we don't want murderers roaming our streets.
Yeah, well, I don't believe anything. Okay, I know he deserves a fair trial. I mean, the guy deserves at least one fair trial. I mean, what can I say? I mean, he looks like he got framed, but I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. But.
Hey, Dave, you know what? I got an idea. Can you hang on? You got a long distance plan, right?
What's that?
You have a long distance plan, right? Like this isn't costing you any money?
No.
Okay, good. Can you hang on? We actually every Friday, what is it, Tuesday? Jesus, back in the
for sure not Friday.
I wish it was Friday.
Not Friday.
I can't focus. You know when you come back to work after vacation, Dave, and you're like, you don't know what day it is? Does that ever happen to you, Dave?
You're kind of breaking up.
Oh, are you there? Yeah. Well, we're. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What I was going to ask you is, I got to take a short break and thank our sponsors here on SiriusXM. The program's brought to you by Pizza, but we got a lot of other people we got to thank too. Can you hang on the phone? Every Tuesday at 5, we have a criminal defense lawyer that actually comes on with us. Ironically, and I thought to piece it together. This wasn't the plan. And the guy goes, "Do you want to ask him some questions? Maybe he can give you some like not just radio host advice, but legal advice."
If that's what you want to do, I can do it. And you said something about fame too. I'm not looking for any kind of fame. I mean, I wish this never would have happened to me. And this is terrible.
Yeah, no, like I said, you sound like an honest guy. And that sort of was the point I was trying to make. You seem like you just want to get the truth out there. And that's why I want to give you some more radio time. So this is what we're going to do. Ari hasn't seen all the show yet, so we're going to spoil it for him, but who cares? He spoiled a lot of things for us. So we're going to get Ari Goldkind in here, a defense lawyer, to talk to you a little bit about the things you've seen, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so hang on. You're going to hear me read some commercials. We're going to get back to you in about 4 or 5 minutes. Dave Begotka joins us. He's in Texas now. He was just outside of Manitowoc when the first case happened with Steven Avery. He was right there on the beach. He saw the female come running down after she was assaulted. Terrible, terrible stuff that he had to be a part of and see and witness. And yet he was never called to be a witness. And then later he thinks he maybe even had seen Steven Avery filling up a jerry can of gas while he was accused of killing Teresa Hallback. And there's even more information from a crazy town, apparently, that he was a part of and lived in. He wasn't a part of the craziness, but he was approached to be a part of that craziness. A big story here. I want to explore it some more with a lawyer, as Ari Goldkind, our friend, is here. We'll be back in a moment on Canada Laughs. Thank you to pizzapizza.ca and everyone here at SiriusXM.
Hey, what's up? I'm Roddy. Subscribe to our channel. You're going to love it. For the rest of this episode, you got to check out our podcast online on the website. Go check it out. You won't be disappointed.